What's up, guys? It's Solo back with another video on Solo Hoops. Merry Christmas to everybody if you guys celebrated. Of course, happy holidays to everybody. Yesterday we had a great slate of NBA games. We obviously had 10 of the best teams in the NBA, 5 games total, and I mean there's not many other teams that I would have wished to see. Maybe the OKC Thunder with Shea, maybe the Timberwolves. It would have been nice to see Joel Embiid play for the Sixers, but instead we got Paul Reed. The NBA kicked off Christmas morning with the Knicks versus the Bucks, two of the top teams out east, and this game was solid. Jalen Brunson went for 38, which by the way, we got to start talking about Jalen Brunson in these big games. Obviously he had the 50-point game early this year on Christmas, which is a kind of big game. It's one of the biggest regular season games of the NBA season. Brunson goes out and scores 30 on Milwaukee. Last year in the playoffs, the Knicks beat the Cavs in the first round, moved on to the second round. Brunson averaged, as you guys can see, 28 points, basically 6 assists if we round up, and 5 rebounds on good efficiency. Not the best efficiency now that I'm looking at it, 32.5 from the 3, but Brunson steps up when it comes to these big games, and I feel like not enough people are talking about it. The Knicks are a team that on paper, and even I'm talking about last year as well, even this year, they're not a team that like looks like a top team in the NBA, but Jalen Brunson keeps willing this team to these big wins, and it's just going to be interesting to see what Brunson does in the playoffs this year. Right now the Knicks are currently holding down, I believe, the 6th seed. I was gonna say 5. I think it's 6. Yeah, they have the 6th seed, so they currently would be versing the 3 seed, which is the Philadelphia 76ers. That's going to be a problem for them with Joel Embiid, and especially considering the Knicks have no Mitchell Robinson, I believe, for the entirety of the season. I don't know if he can come back for the playoffs, but I'm pretty sure he's out for the entire season. Next up, and I'm gonna go kind of quick through these games, especially this one. This was kind of a weird game. I mean, it did come down to the wire, kinda. The Nuggets ended up winning by 6. I thought the Warriors had a chance late. Jokic, of course, the star of this. I mean, you got Curry as well, but Jokic played kind of weird. 26 points, 14 boards, 8 assists. You look at that on the surface level, you're like, all right, yeah, that's a pretty solid game. It's just a Jokic game. He did not shoot good from the field. 33% from the field, 0% from 3. I mean, he's not like a 3-point shooter, but you know what I'm saying. 0%, 100% from the free throw line. He was 18 for 18 from the line. Pretty much got all his points from the free throw line. So it was a weird game. He started slow. It was like halfway through the second quarter and he had like 2 points and 4 boards. Nuggets still managed to get the win in the second game on Christmas. Another thing I gotta say, I'm not gonna lie to y'all and be like, I was locked in watching every single play of all these games, because I wasn't. It was Christmas. Some of these games I didn't get to give as much attention as I would have liked to, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? It was Christmas. You gotta spend time with family, open presents, give presents, eat, whatever. There was also NFL on, so the TV was going back and forth from that. But the third game of the day, which on paper is probably the best game of the day. I also thought one game we're about to get to was pretty good, or even on paper looked pretty good. But of course, the two probably most legendary franchises in the NBA, the Boston Celtics, beat the Lakers by 11. You guys were watching. I know there was clips that were going a little viral of at the end of the game, Derek White was trying to pass to Jason Tatum with like 4 seconds left, because I guess he didn't want to get the turnover, even though I don't know if you get a turnover for like a shot clock violation like that. But Tatum let the ball go. Derek White got a turnover, but Anthony Davis went for 40 in this one, also had 13 boards. And the guy we really should probably be talking about is Derek White. I mean, I talk about him in like all of my videos at this point because he just won't stop like being insane. Like, we're kind of waiting for Derek White to chill out, but he just keeps getting better as the year goes on. And it's gonna be interesting. Like, he's making a case to be an all-star, especially when you factor in his defense. Obviously his offense isn't as good as some of these other guards in the East that are going to try to get into the all-star game, like Dame, Brunson, Maxey. Of course, you got, you know, Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell, stuff like that. So it's going to be tough, but Derek White is really making a case here as to why he should be an all-star, and he's just been absolutely hooping. The Celtics are 23-6, and he is a absolute major part in that. Fourth game of the day was kind of a weird one. This was the one that I probably paid the least attention to. We had the 76ers with no Joel Embiid. Of course, Paul Reed got some minutes there instead of Embiid. And the Heat with no Jimmy Butler. They also had well, Caleb Martin played, but then he went out with an injury. No Josh Richardson. So they were lacking a lot of like forward minutes. Jaime Jaquez Jr. filled in. He's another guy I talk about a lot on this channel. One of my, I'm not gonna say one of my favorite players, but one of my favorite young players in the NBA. Jaime Jaquez Jr. dropped 31 points, 10 boards in 39 minutes. They very much so needed this on good efficiency, 73% from the field. The Heat beat the Sixers by 6, but it doesn't really mean much. Embiid missed the game, and also Bam went off, but there's no point of talking about Bam when we kind of expected. I think he had 26 and 14 with like 3 blocks, but Jaime Jaquez Jr. dropped 31. We didn't really expect that. And of course, we got the guy that everybody's talking about on Christmas, Luka. Well, they're probably talking about Santa, but you know what I'm saying. We got Luka Doncic. We had the Suns taking on the Mavericks in this low-key could have been, I mean, it was the best game of the day, but on paper, like before the game, it looked like it could be. You got the Luka, you got the Devin Booker rivalry, and the Suns didn't really stand a chance. Like, we're gonna talk more about them in a second, but right now, let's talk about Luka. He had 50 points, 6 boards, 15 assists. He had one of his best games of his career. I'd probably say top 5, which is crazy because that's an insane game. 50 and 15. He's the second player in NBA history to do that. Of course, the first one, you guys could probably guess if you think a little bit. It happened probably, what, 4 or 5 years ago. James Harden, I think it was probably that game where he had 60. He had a crazy like 60-point triple-double. I don't know. It might not have been that game. But Luka with 50, 6, and 15. He also had 8 threes in this game. You guys can see SportsCenter tweeted 50 burger and the win on Christmas for Luka. It's just the 4th 50-point game on Christmas Day in NBA history. Some of the other players, I think, was Bernard King, Wilt Chamberlain, and there was someone else that was kind of an older player. But yeah, insane game from Luka. Wait, the graphic says 14 assists. I could have sworn he had 50. Well, okay, I don't know. Here says 15. The graphic says 14. He probably had 15 because ESPN's probably right. Well, I guess SportsCenter is also ESPN. I don't know. This is kind of confusing, but you guys can see this tweet here. No player in NBA history has reached these thresholds in a singular game. 50 points, 15 assists, 8 3-pointers made, which by the way was on good 3-point efficiency. I think it was like 8 for 12, 6 boards, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. So it wasn't just, you know, an offensive masterclass. 4 steals and 3 blocks is also insane, and especially coming from a guy like Luka, who's not known to be this defensive player. But again, like we talked about Jalen Brunson earlier, Luka just continues to shine in these huge games. And as you guys look at these clips here, like, he was just scoring at will. He's probably the player, if I had to pick one, that when he's on, when he's red hot, like, he can make anything. It seems like he's never gonna miss. A player that also comes to mind when you talk about a player like that is probably Klay Thompson. When he's just knocking down threes, it feels like he can't miss anything. But Luka, he's hitting step backs. Like, bro, if you've watched the Mavs, you watch Luka, you know what I'm talking about. He'll start stepping back. He'll start shooting over dudes. Like, he's one of those players that when he's making shots, he can just get anything whenever he wants. We got the hater central duo of the day, aka Luka's Suns. 36 points combined, 10 field goals, 2 for 7 from the 3. Gifted the L, 2-pack of ass, says hater central. But to be honest, like, I don't know what was going on. KD played 43 minutes and made 4 field goals. That is insane. That is so unlike Kevin Durant. Devin Booker also played 40 minutes and he made 6 field goals. I think he also had 10 assists. So KD really was the main one that played bad. Booker didn't play great, but he played okay. But what can you do when Luka scores 50 on you? And I mean, does Luka just own Booker like at this point in time? Or do we gotta wait and let Booker like see if he can revenge himself? Maybe whether it's in the playoffs this year or what. But I mean, I don't know. As of right now, Luka just owns this guy. Of course, it started in 2022 when the Mavericks upset the Phoenix Suns, the 1 seed in the Western Conference semifinals. D-Book, you guys can see the stats in the bottom right corner. D-Book had 23.4 in the series, 5 and 4, whereas Luka, and his stats aren't on the screen. It's just, it would take up too much. He put up 33, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Absolutely owned the Suns in this series, and they also blew an early lead. The Suns, as you guys can see, were up 2-0 in this series, went to game 7, where they absolutely got blown out by what, 33 points. Something I talk about a lot on this channel is the MVP race. Now, taking a look at the Western Conference standings, the Mavericks are currently 5th with a record of 18 and 12, and I feel like Luka deserves a little more talk when it comes to the MVP award. Right now, he's currently 3rd/4th in odds. He's like tied with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which I don't really know how. I mean, the Thunder are the 3 seed, but like, look, they're literally what? They're up a game and a half on the Mavs. When Luka is putting up the numbers that he's putting up, which if you just look at the numbers, he's putting up better numbers than SGA, but you got to look at the circumstances. Kyrie has missed like half the season at this point, and the rest of the Mavs roster, I mean, Derek Lively's been playing good, but he's a rookie. You can't expect much from him. The rest of this roster is really not great. Like, you're getting solid production from Tim Hardaway Jr., but like, you know, it's like that's no star. Having an 18-12 record pretty much solely because of Luka is insane. Whereas the Nuggets, which, you know, you got Jokic, who's second in odds for MVP, they're 22-10. They got guys like Jamal Murray, you got MPJ, Aaron Gordon. They're a much solid roster, and the Mavs are like hanging in there with them. Now, staying on the topic of this Suns versus Mavs game, we got to talk about Grayson Allen. The guy had 32 points. I think he also, like Luka, had 8 3-pointers. Filling in for Bradley Beal, well, you're going to have a bunch of guys like him, Eric Gordon, Okogie, kind of filling in that role. But tonight, it was Grayson Allen getting 32 points. And as I do in all these videos, we talk about the players that were either the most surprising or just the best. And the Suns, D-Book and KD, kind of shit the bed on Christmas. Grayson Allen, though, showed up. And we can't end the video off without talking about Chemezi Metu. He had 23 points and 19 boards. Bro went crazy. I thought Drew Eubanks was gonna get majority of these minutes. Metu played 34 minutes in place of Yusuf Nurkic, who's been out with personal reasons. Obviously not gonna keep these numbers up, but it'll be interesting to see. Can he do this a little bit? Can he give 12 and 10? Can he, you know what I'm saying? Because when Nurkic comes back off the bench, that could be big if they got a guy like this who just did this out of nowhere. I remember he played with the Kings last year, or probably like 3 seasons in a row before that, and I think he started with the Spurs, but he wasn't really getting much minutes. Today he played 34, had a big role on the Christmas Day L for the Suns. I feel like the games and the teams that were picked for Christmas was overall pretty good. I would say that like the NBA gets like an 8.5 out of 10 for me as far as like the games go and stuff. It would have been cool to see like Nuggets Sixers, because you know that Embiid Jokic rivalry, or it's not really a rivalry to them, but to the fans it is. But obviously Embiid missed the game. There's a few things, like I said, the Thunder, maybe Timberwolves would have been cool to see. Comment down below, what team is one team that you wish would have played on Christmas? And don't say your team. Don't say your own team, because I know everyone's just going to be biased and be like, oh, I wanted to see the Pistons play. Like, you know what I'm saying? No one wants to see that. But let me know one team other than your team that you wish you could have seen on Christmas. Sub up if you guys have. We're on the road to 600 subs. We're uploading daily on this channel, except yesterday because it was Christmas, so we didn't post on that day. But other than that, we're uploading daily. Sub up, turn on noties, drop a like, and click the video pop it up on your screen right here if you haven't seen it.